talk today about social technologies, how to make sense of them. And there are so many out there. Now, if it was only just about Facebook, for example, it wouldn't necessarily be so bad because they only have 500 million users, right? But it's more than just Facebook. It's a lot more other sites. There are sites like LinkedIn, there are Twitter, YouTube, Flickr, and then it goes on and on. They seem to multiply overnight. It can be very, very overwhelming. So that's kind of understandable to see there are so many that you have to keep a track of. But more importantly, in talking to business leaders like yourselves, I hear this other comment from people, this feeling, this fear of being out of control. And in particular, what I hear from people is, well, what happens when somebody writes a negative comment about me? What happens if they put up a negative customer experience? What if they put up pictures of things going wrong with my product? Well, that's exactly what happened with DELL. One day, 4 years ago, something happened to one of their products, and I hope nothing like this ever happens to you. But this is the picture that started circulating around the internet. It was one of their laptops catching on fire, spontaneously combusting and blowing up in the middle of a conference in Osaka, Japan. They weren't in control of that situation, were they? So what happens in this age and space where, frankly, you're not in control? And in fact, what DELL did, what they realized they had to do was to really respond. And they had just, at that very summer, in 2006, started a blog. The chief blogger, Lionel Menchaca, sat down and he had to figure out what was he going to say about this. I mean, what do you say about something that looks like that? So this is what he wrote. I'm going to show you the post. It looks something like this. It just had a simple title. It says, Flaming Notebook. Make no mistake about it, what he was going to talk about. And this is what he wrote. Beyond what you've seen in the blogosphere, we don't have an update on the infamous Flaming Notebook from Osaka. And he links to that picture that I showed you just now. Can you imagine doing that in your own company? Putting up something for the world to see and say, hey, here's our product blowing up on your own website. Well, Lionel didn't just stop there. He said, you know, we're going to talk about this. We're going to really carry it all the way through. So over the course of that summer and that fall, he wrote 12 different blog posts talking about what they were finding out, that in fact it was something wrong with the batteries, that they were going to have to replace every single lithium-ion battery in all of their computers. This is the process they were going to talk about. This is the way that we're going to do this, they said. And what Lionel did also, as people were writing back, angry customers, one by one, he was writing back to them and saying, I hear you, we're sorry this is happening, but this is what we're going to do about it. Person by person, he responded to all of those comments. Person by person, he reached out to them and said, this is what we're going to do for you. In the course of doing this, DELL also worked with their customer service people. And they said, when people called into the call centers or sent emails, they would point them back to all of these blog posts for them to get more information, get more in-depth explanations about what to do about that battery replacement. Now, when DELL started doing this and creating the strategy, they didn't think about, oh, here's my blogging strategy, this is what I can do with it. What they set out to do, and why Michael Dell absolutely believed that this is the way to do it, is that they were focused on something different. They were focused on relationships. And in particular, they realized what these technologies do better than anything else that's out there, and that is being able to reach out to people, being able to create new relationships where one didn't exist before, or to be able to strengthen the ones that were already there. So if you think about what DELL did, what they did was they said, this is a relationship worth having with people. A conversation around their laptops blowing up, being able to have an authentic and transparent relationship with them. Now, I want you to think about what relationships mean in the course of business and also in your personal lives. Now, think about your best relationships that you have in your personal life. Let's think about with your spouse or partner. How many of you would say that you control them? Anybody want to admit that? Okay, so a point made. You can't control relationships. And yet when it comes to business, why do we think that we can control things? Because in the world of business, it really is about relationships. And yet in this space, in this world of social technologies, you have to realize that you have to absolutely give up control.